In this video, I'll be swapping the headlight bulbs on my first generation Chevy Traverse from the OEM halogen bulbs to LED. The marketing team at Hawkglow reached out to me to review some of their LED bulbs and sent me this set of V6 bulbs for my Traverse. I'll include a link in the description below for where you can purchase these bulbs. Check out the end of the video for a comparison between the original halogen bulbs and these LED ones. Hawkglow has the V6 bulbs available in several different sizes to fit a variety of vehicles. The one for the low beams on this Traverse being H11. A major problem when switching from halogen to LED headlights is that the headlight housings are designed for halogen bulbs and have tiny reflectors specifically placed for the filament on the bulb. These LED bulbs have 4 sets of chips all the way around the bulb, which is designed to go in roughly the same location as a halogen filament to correctly focus the beam. It can also be rotated to optimize that focus. But in reality, these 4 sides end up being significantly larger than a halogen filament, causing too much light scatter and results in some bright spots being projected in front of the vehicle. But more on that later on. It does have the LED driver module in line with a power cord, so it's plug and play in vehicles with halogen bulbs. But in my opinion, there are some more streamlined options out there like Hawkglow's P2 series with internal drivers and thinner LED chips. The V6 also has an internal fan for active cooling to allow the bulb to be as bright as possible. And this series has an extra feature of 3 different color temperature settings, but more of that later on. Installing them in my Traverse is fairly easy with just a T20 Torx bit driver as well as a Phillips screwdriver to adjust the height of the low beam. To get started, rotate the tires away from the side that you're working on, then remove the 2 T20 screws on the front of the wheel well liner and peel back the liner to get to the back side of the headlight housing. There you'll find a protective cap on the back side of the housing that can be removed by turning counterclockwise. Behind it will be the low beam headlight bulb. Rotate the bulb to the left and remove it from the housing, then squeeze the 2 retaining tabs on each side and disconnect the plug. Take the new LED bulb and carefully insert it, turning clockwise to lock it in place. Now plug in the connector. Because LEDs only work if positive and negative are on the correct side, you have to briefly turn the headlights on to make sure that you got the polarity right. If the bulb doesn't turn on, just unplug, flip around the connector 180 degrees, and it should work fine. Now you can tuck the driver module and plug into the housing. These bulbs may also need the rotation adjusted to help the beam focus correctly, and to do that, I highly suggest using an insulating glove since the heat sink on the back of the bulb gets fairly hot. After you get the beam pattern adjusted, reinstall the housing cap. Finally, reinstall the 2 Torx screws in the wheel well liner. Installation on the other side is the exact same. First, remove the 2 T20 screws, remove the headlight housing cap, remove and unplug the old bulb, carefully insert the new bulb and plug it in, test to make sure the polarity is right, tuck in the driver module and plug, adjust the beam pattern, reinstall the cap, then reinstall the 2 wheel well liner screws. When I first turned on the bulbs, the first thing I noticed is just how much brighter they were than the OEM halogen bulbs. But to make this an objective review, I bought a light meter to put a number on exactly how much brighter they were. From a distance of 54 inches, the halogen bulbs were 5,038 lux, but the V6 LED bulbs were 26,660 lux, which is a little over 4 times brighter. Because I was changing the bulbs to something these housings weren't designed for, it's necessary to recheck the low beam alignment before taking it out on the road at night. The LED bulbs ended up projecting a beam several inches higher than the halogen bulbs. So for your safety and the safety of the other drivers around you, don't skip the alignment step when you change your headlight bulbs. You can adjust the alignment with either a Phillips head screwdriver or 6mm hex key under the hood above the headlight housing. First, find a flat, level area with a vertical wall or surface that you can park away from so that your headlights are 25 feet away from the wall. Next, measure the distance from the ground to the headlight bulb. On the wall, mark 2 inches below that height in front of each headlight. Now, using the screwdriver or hex key, rotate the adjustment screw so that the high intensity portion of the beam is at or below that line. If the top edge of that beam appears scattered, you may need to adjust the rotation of the LED bulb using a glove. Unfortunately, the only way to do this is by removing the screws again to access the back of the headlight housing through the wheel well. Rotate the bulb until there is a defined cutoff to the light on the top edge of the beam, then go back and adjust the beam height. Comparing the beam intensity at 25 feet, the difference between the halogen and the LED bulbs was about the same as before, at 5.5 times brighter. The halogens being 196.4 lux, with the LEDs being 1,104 lux. You can also upgrade your high beams to LED, which is a bit more challenging on the Traverse, but with how bright these LED low beams are, you probably won't need to use the high beams that often. I do want to go back and touch on a feature of these V6 bulbs that I mentioned in the beginning. There are actually 2 different color temperature LED chips on each of the 4 sides of this bulb that allows for 3 different color temperature settings, which can be cycled through by turning the headlights off and then right back on. In theory, it sounds great, but in reality, the blended color causes too much light scatter, and the warm color is just too yellow in my opinion. Not to mention, it's not at all properly aligned if the bulbs have been adjusted for bright white. Also, if you cycle through quickly, it is possible for one headlight to change color temperatures and the other one to stay the same. Thankfully, it does always reset to bright white anytime the headlights are turned off for more than 5 seconds. I found the best visibility to be with this bright white setting and would recommend that you pick a bulb that only has one color temperature option. Like I said earlier, I'm not a fan of these 360-degree LED bulbs because it causes the LEDs not to quite line up with where the halogen filament is designed to go, and the reflectors on the headlight end up creating hot spots of light that are quite noticeable when driving, versus the diffused light pattern headlights are supposed to have. My recommendation would be to go with something with a 2-sided LED bulb, like the P2 series from Hawkglow, that creates a much more even light distribution. Overall, this was a fairly easy upgrade that gave me an instant boost to visibility. Being fan-cooled bulbs, it does allow them to be brighter than passively cooled bulbs, but I'm a little worried about the long-term effect of being inside these enclosed headlight housings in the Traverse. Also, even with them inside the housing, there's a slight bit of fan noise when the headlights are on. You won't be able to hear it over the engine noise, but there is a barely noticeable hum when you turn off your car with the light off delay enabled. Like I said earlier, you do need to pair the bulb swap with a low beam vertical alignment for safety, but for me the hardest part of aligning the headlights was simply finding a large enough level space to do it. Don't forget to click the like button if you found this video helpful and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section below, and also check out my Traverse playlist for all of my Chevy Traverse related videos.